So one of the hardest things when it comes to trading the wheel strategy is deciding what stock we are actually going to use. It's a question I get asked all the time. Bro, like, what is the best wheel stock out there? And frankly, I've changed so much over the time. And one other thing I ask myself is like, is it worth doing with an ETF? Is it worth trading the wheel with an ETF? We know that the volume for ETFs is really, really high, but it doesn't really have a lot of volatility, which is a great thing when trading options, like the pros and the cons. And a lot of the great ETFs are pretty expensive. So is the upfront cost worth the return on investment? And that's something that I really wanted to test out for you guys and for me. And what I did was I decided I was going to trade VTI, Vanguard's Total Stock Market Index Fund, the ETF version VTI, for 6 months to see if it was actually worth it. The reason I wanted to do this, I had some money laying around that I knew that I wanted to hold for about 6 months. And also I was thinking about maybe one day, we know that my Roth IRA is all VTI. Like, would it be worth it one day to start trading the wheel inside the VTI? So in this video, I want to show you really, has it been worth the return on investment? And even furthermore, what's happened over the last couple months as the market has been pulling back. And I'll start here, guys, right inside the Robinhood portfolio, because the haters are going to say it's fake, that I didn't really do it. So here you go, haters. You could take a screenshot of this. I started on October 6th. I got 8 shares. I had to wait for some more money to clear. I got the other 91 shares. And I pretty much have been working the wheel, pretty much have never got assigned. They've all been bought, closed. I'm going to show you a spreadsheet, exactly the numbers. Like I said, I just want to show you, be transparent. This is totally legit. And I've made each one of the trades that I'm going to talk about. And we've seen some of them canceled. Sometimes it doesn't work, guys. It's okay to cancel a trade. We've had some really big ones. This was $125. I'll show you each and every trade over in the spreadsheet. But before we dive into that spreadsheet, guys, I do want to mention and thank today's video sponsor, Disruptor. So outside of trading options and personal finance, you guys know that I have a huge love for business, and I've even started some of my own. Although none of them ever went public, I always dreamed that I would be the one to change the course of history. Every time I partnered with somebody, I thought to myself, is this going to be the partnership that people are talking about in 20 years? I wanted to have the business that people dreamed about starting and even partnering with before anybody knew them and they went public. But even a few years ago, guys, trying to invest in a huge startup was just that. It was a dream. Unless you owned a huge company or had millions of dollars. Well, Disruptor has changed that, and they give you the opportunity to make money investing inside private companies. Disruptor is seeing more and more companies stay private longer, therefore maximizing their value as a private company before going public. And guys, they make it super simple as well. Disruptor analysts select the world's top private companies, which are mostly in the pre-IPO stage, and you go through the entire vesting process right through the Disruptor app. Once you download the app, you can see the investments that are coming up, investments that have recently ended, or current investment opportunities. They're even posting some of these companies on their YouTube channel that I'll link down below, which gives you a better picture of some of their investment opportunities. Having access to everything you need right there on the app on your phone is really, really convenient. So if you're an accredited investor and looking to invest in the world's next great company, download the Disruptor app linked in the description below and check out their YouTube channel for other opportunities. Thank you so much, Disruptor, for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to VTI. So here's that spreadsheet I was telling you. You guys know I love spreadsheets. If you're inside the Discord, you get access to all the spreadsheets. This one's pretty basic and pretty simple. Probably not anything you need to run to the Discord for. But hey, if you like spreadsheets, they're definitely there. We can see the date, the price, the ticker, the delta, because that is a question I always get asked when it comes to selling calls and puts. I put if it was a call, and you can see I did not have any puts. I did not get a sign on this. The strike price that I chose, expiration, days till expiration, all these stats that I want to give you to, and I'll put all the totals down here. I didn't want to give away the whole video, you know. You go, oh, that's what it does. You guys click away. Thanks for sticking around. Wait till the end to get the video. Wait till the end of the video and get all the juicy details, but also the collateral, guys. My average cost was $226.80. So like I said, a $22,000 upfront cost to trade the wheel with. And that's one of the downsides that we talk about in the wheel. I talk about it in my ebook. If you want it for print, you also have it here. Yeah, same as plug. You know, I'm plugging stuff. Get the paperback version. I'll link that down in the description below. But it's a lot of money. All right. I put the outcome here. BTC is buy to close. I had to roll some expired worthless. Those are awesome. The date, the ROI for that particular investment. So what that is essentially the net premium on top of the collateral. So how much did I receive? And the annual return on investment, which you can calculate a number of different ways. I pretty much went and so I could look at the formula and see what it says. I took R32, so that is this, and I multiplied it by 12. So if you could do this for 12 months, because VTI does trade monthly, unlike the SPY. So that's what, if I could do this every month, that would be the annual return on investment. So we started off with a call. The average delta was 0.3196. So for those of you that are new to the wheel, you know that delta is roughly the risk that we're taking. It's a general rule of thumb, not the technical definition for delta, but essentially this is the buyer's chance of success. So as the seller, we're opposite that. So if the buyer has a 31% chance, a delta of 0.3, roughly a 70% chance that this is going to expire worthless. At the time, we can see, and this is like kind of one thing I really want to look at. I always talk about how the wheel and how covered calls are downside protection. They're kind of a bearish kind of play. And everyone's like, they're not bearish, Brad, you're stupid. Whatever, yeah, what would I know, right? But if we look on 10.8, or even when we purchased it, it was worth $226.80. Today, when I sold it off, it was worth like $228 or something like that. What was it worth today? $229.75, and it was up $1.48 today. So yesterday, it was under $228. So in 6 months, the price essentially, for all intents and purposes, has not changed. My capital growth, next to nothing. I think I closed it for $51 today, right? $51 when I closed it. Oh yeah, when I closed it for $227.31. I'll talk about like why I closed it today and tell you like, you know, why I had to close something early. We'll get to all those details. But also too, on top of that, guys, I've gotten dividends. So I've received 2 dividends from them, $85.95 and $70.82. So we can see that's pretty much a 0.38 return. And remember, they do this quarterly. All right. So if you multiply that by 4, that annual return on number, this should go away because that's kind of throwing off my numbers a little bit. But if you multiplied that by 4, you would get kind of the dividend yield equals this times 4. So 1.52%, let's see if that's really changed on this dividend. That would equal this times 4. Sorry, I'm just updating the spreadsheet. So the dividend yield actually gone down, guys. This is not like a company where they set the dividend yield. It's kind of set by those companies, so it does vary quarter to quarter. But like I said, still not a bad return as far as even a dividend. Now, I'll tell you this one roll and buy to close. Essentially what happened is in October, VTI had a nice little spike. We can see the 226 all the way up to 239. Coming into the end of the year, it had a pretty good run, and I thought it was a little bit out of character, and I did not want to get a sign, and I knew that I could roll this. So here essentially is the roll. So it cost me $660 to roll it in collateral, but when you roll, you're pretty much closing an option and then opening an option. So I bought to close for $660, but I opened for $700, and I got to change the expiration date. So I really netted about $40 from this transaction in doing so. So that's the negative you're gonna see. And you see another one over here. This was, I closed it for $100, but then opened another one for $170. So I netted $70. Knowing how to roll, and especially roll for a credit, is a very, very good thing. I have videos, you can check it out, but these were not losses. These two are rolls, the 660 and the 700, and then the 100 and the 170. I rolled them because I did not think that what was happening at the current time was going to be a future characteristic of VTI, and I'm glad because we know what happened in the new year. We went all the way up to 239 on this one, and then we got as low as 215 in the middle of March. So crazy, crazy swing, as we know that happened in the markets. So no capital gains in that time. The average return that I expected, so you can kind of do some math and see if this is worth it to you. I'll tell you if I think it's worth it at the end. The actual play, 0.23 every single time that I played. And is that worth it for an annual return on investment of 2.3%? Well, they say historically VTI averages between 8 and 10%. So would you want to throw another 2% onto that, essentially increasing its gain by 20%? That to me, especially with some hefty dividends, might seem worth it. Before I unblack out the bottom, guys, take a second, leave down in the comments if you are wheeling a big ETF like this. Are you doing the SPY wheel, and have you found it to be worth it? Let's get rid of all this and see what all the final averages numbers were. The average share price I dealt with was $228. Average delta 0.31, which is pretty conservative if you ask me. But with the monthlies, the strikes are like every $5 or $10, so the deltas jump by pretty much 0.1 every single time. The average strike price $232. As long as it's above your basis, that is good. You would never see something lower than $226. That's just not what I'm going to do. These are monthlies, and the average hold time was 13 days. And guys, here's the one you're looking for, okay? $722 in 6 months. So I made a little over $100 a month with dividends trading this when the share price in that time went from $226.39 to $227. Okay, so it went up $1. So I made less than $1. It went up 50 cents for me. I got $51 when I sold them in capital gains. But this essentially stayed flat for 6 months, and I was able to pull in $722. Now, if you want to be a stickler, yeah, you can take $150 off of that for the dividends. But if you're doing this with the stock, you're probably going to get dividends as well. But even so, $600, $500 and change, this was a return. So on this return, I got $722 on my investment of $226.80. That returned me 3% inside that 6 months. And with my average numbers being about 2.31, it's like the same, even a little bit better. So what I'm looking at is over the 6 months, I made 3%. If I would continue this, I can't see there being any reason why this wouldn't continue. And I can make maybe 5 or 6% extra on top of owning the shares and getting capital growth, as well as this 3.19% for a 6-month return. I will say an average transaction of 0.23% is a little bit low. Generally, when I trade the wheel, I'm going to look for a return on investment on each one pretty much at about a half, not even a percent, a half. But this being a monthly, that makes it really conservative. I really wouldn't even mind 0.25%. But I really love the fact that I made this money, and I'm really glad that VTI didn't just keep going and going and going up. It really showed the true value and the true power of the wheel and selling options on a stock that could trade pretty flat, maybe a little bit up, but is consistent and isn't too volatile where it's just going to dive down. And if you guys know my characteristics for the wheel, I love blue chip dividend stocks that move almost like an index. Will I do this in my brokerage? Guys, probably not. I think with the $22,000, I can find some other things to wheel. I can diversify amongst a couple different dividend stocks. But for money that I was holding, the reason why I'm pulling this out, guys, I'm using this to pay taxes. A little reckless to invest, but this wasn't the only liquidity that I had. This was, like I said, an experiment to see if I want to do this inside my Roth IRA. But given the circumstance, if like I didn't need and know I was going to take the money out, I probably wouldn't have put $22,000 into just one wheel, especially a monthly. Maybe if I could do it with the SPY or something like that, I might consider it if I didn't want to invest in an individual stock. But I hope this helped, guys. I just wanted to give you some transparency. I do get the wheel question all the time. I hope it helped. Let me know. Like I said, do you think it's for you? And let me know any ETFs that you love to wheel. I'm always looking for new ones, and I always like to bring stuff up in the Discord. If you do want to get inside the Discord, 250 like-minded individuals talking money, trading options. It's a pretty good time. Until I see you guys on the next one, stay positive, work really, really hard, always please be kind to other people. Hope you have yourself an amazing day and an even better tomorrow.